Polish your piece. Masterpiece, then write a masterpiece. Deep breath and release. So all you need is depth, breath, and belief to polish your piece. Polish your piece. Family, what up? So thankful for y'all to be here. Writers, readers, and in-betweeners. We got a special one for y'all today. I know y'all probably been feeling like we are poet and singer heavy, but we have a writing GOAT, one of my favorite authors in here today. Before I introduce this brother, I want to go over the rules. First and foremost, shout out to The Truth, the poet. You know what I'm saying? She's not here with us today, but she's here in spirit. So Truth, we love you. For sure. You already know, it's your boy, Dev Rock. We here today. First rule is love. You know what I mean? And I can't say it like Truth said, but you know, if you got love, you got everything great. No hate. All right. So if everything y'all lead with love in the comments, lead with love as far as how you participate in this here thing. But listen, we trying to build a community. So please participate, have questions, have thoughts, reach out to us, talk to us, and make sure y'all come out on June 26th so that y'all will see the actual, you know what I'm saying, show that is accompanying this podcast, okay? And then here's the third rule. When you do comment, come on now, get real persnickety with your vernacular, all right? We writers, so we want y'all to, you know what I'm saying, get crazy with it. Say it poetic, you know what I mean? Or, you know, just be elegant with, you know, your responses and your captions and your comments. We appreciate that. All right. Now for the good stuff. Man, today we have a great brother here with us today, man. This man here, he is the author. First off, he's a New York best-selling author. Secondly, let me give y'all the rundown on all the books this man got. We got the B-side, Living and Dying While Black in America. We got The Cook-Up, a crack rock memoir, which is the last book that I ever read the whole thing of. And I read it in one night. You feel me? We Speak for Ourselves. We got Where Tomorrows Aren't Promised. Then, come on now, we got Black Boy Smile, a memoir in moments. This brother is from East Baltimore. He is my favorite author. He's one of the most down-to-earth, genuine, cool people that does the most bucket list stuff in the world. And you talk to him and he's just like, hey, man, me and my mother and my daughter chilling today. And that's the type of stuff you want to hear, man. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show, D. Watkins.
Thank you, brother, man. Thank you for the introduction. Thank you for that. Appreciate it.
No problem, man. So look, we're gonna get right into it, man. Today, you know, what we do on this pod is we try to make sure that we help the aspiring writers understand what's really going on in the game and behind the scenes. So, you know, we're going to be talking about how to get a book deal and what's your relationship to, you know, the work that you do and all of the writing gigs that you get. So
that's great. Do your thing, bro.
Let's go.
Because I love that because I don't think a lot of people really, like, especially when you coming up, you don't really, when you're trying to get established, you don't really understand the relationship between yourself and the work. So I'm happy we gonna get to that.
For sure. We was talking to Connie last joint, and he was like, man, he was, you know, I think he referenced you as a mentor, and he was just talking about how when you was trying to get your book deal and the effort and the work, the things that you was doing to be able to win. And, you know, sometimes it's crazy. Like, I just think about our community of writers. You know, we might chase a music deal, a publishing deal. We might chase the NBA. We might chase the NFL. But I don't think even in my mind, it wasn't conceivable to think about chasing a book deal. And now I had something new to aspire to, you know? So my first question is this, man. What is it like how did you get your first book deal?
My first book deal. So like many of us, me and you, we from similar backgrounds and all that. Nobody's walking around our neighborhood talking about, I just signed a book deal, and if somebody writes a book and they self-publish it, we champion them and, we support them because it's rare. It's like, yo, you sat down, finished the book. Like shout out to my man K on the Feds right now. He in the Feds. He wrote like 25 books while he was locked up, and they on Amazon. You know what I'm saying? They ready for purchase on Amazon. So it's like, when he come home, we gotta figure that out. But my first one is, again, I didn't know that was a thing. And as I'm moving through the world, and my version of Baltimore is getting bigger, I'm meeting more people, cool people who do different things. I met MK Asante, I met Cherie Booker, like I met these people, and I was on this journey of writing, but they were already in the business side of it, and through having conversations with them led to me having conversations with other writers and other people who were doing this. And I started collecting proposals from them because I'm like, yo, how'd you get your book in Barnes and Nobles and I'm gonna take it back. Y'all don't remember this, but Borders. Like it was, how'd you get your book in the front of these places and all that? And I learned that when you self-publish, it's hard to get in those spaces, even though you can get into some local bookstores. But when you get with these big publishing houses, you get the local bookstores, you get the school-wide events, you get the campus bookstores, you get the Barnes and Noble, you get everything.
Yeah,
you get everything. So I learned that they actually control the industry of literature. So I hopped on Google, man. So I asked people how they did it. Everybody had a different story. I hopped on Google. They had a couple of different ways of doing it, and I can actually summarize how you do it for the people watching.
Please do.
So number one, there's this one book called How to Write the Perfect Book Proposal. Then it's a colon, and it's 10 that sold and why, right? So that book is kind of like the blueprint for writing a good book proposal. And I would tell anybody, and these are just the industry rules. For fiction and for poetry, your book has to be done. For nonfiction, you can get a deal with having 2 or 3 chapters done. Even though I would recommend you have the whole thing done, you can get a deal with 2 or 3 chapters. The thing is that people trust people who write nonfiction because it's research, because it's your own story. You know you can get to the end.
Yeah.
No one trusts poets or novelists.
Word.
And business, through business. And
right.
Poets are normally the best people out of the group.
Right.
Allegedly. But with nonfiction, so I've only published nonfiction. And even though I call myself a novelist, I've written novels that they're not ready for the world. But I wrote the proposal, and then after I had the proposal as good as I can get it, right? As tight as I can get it, I wrote a query letter. The query letter is like 3 to 5 paragraphs, briefly summarizes your book, briefly summarizes who you are, and it's written with the purpose for you to get representation by a literary agent. Where are these agents? Mm-hmm. You Google literary agent. Most of them are in New York. It's a few in Chicago, a few on the West Coast, attached to bigger film agencies, but they out there. And I started Googling agents, clicking on their the websites, reading their bios. You must read their bios because their bios tell you what they want. Let's just say I'm an agent. My name's, John.
Right.
Hey, my name is John. I've been an agent for 10 years. Right now, I have an interest in magical realism and romantic fantasy.
Because you don't want to be selling to somebody who's doing that when you writing a serious book.
So if I've got a nonfiction book about East Baltimore, why am I going to the magical realism person?
Yeah.
You feel me? So I always tell people, read the bios, submit to the person in that agency who's looking for what you have, and also never submit the two. It may be two people looking for memoir. So like, let's just say if John and Jill are both looking for memoir and they both are part of the same agency and you submit to both of them and they both like you, none of them are going to represent you because they're going to be like, yo, this person they're causing conflict in our office. You know what I'm saying? So just, and I did this, and this is the most important part. I did this I solicited over 500 people before I found a couple of people that wanted to work with me. So you go out there and you send this query letter to 8 people and you don't get an agent and you quit, then the person who submitted to 20 or 30 or 40 is going to win.
So 400 no's, but all you needed was
maybe like 492 no's.
But all you needed was one yes out of the 8 maybes.
All I needed is one yes.
And people don't understand that sometimes. If you don't shoot them joints, you can't make them.
Listen, I was at a bar one night and with another writer that I know, and I was asking him what he was working on. I wasn't with him. I just bumped into him. I should probably say that.
Mm-hmm.
Bumped into him, and I'm asked him what is he working on, and he's like, he don't write no more. And I'm like, for real? You don't write no more? Nah. Well, why? I couldn't get an agent. For real? And I don't know why I asked this, but I was like, and at this point I had an agent.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, well, how many you submit to? And I think he said like 7 or 8. And I'm like, well, who the fuck do you think you are? Like, because I never thought you were like the strongest.
Yeah.
But that's also all relative, because what I think, it doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
Like, because something, there's a type of music you really going to be locked into, and it's a type of music that I'm going to be locked into, and we're both right. We're both right.
Yeah.
So it's like, but why would you think that you can just walk through like that? And I shared my piece because he asked. You know what I'm saying? He asked me, so I shared my piece. But yeah, the most important part I say is, of all the awards I won, of all the articles I published, like of all the books I put out, like it still took me to try to talk to over 500 people to get representation. So doesn't mean that I wasn't a strong writer. It's just timing and consistency and how much do you really want it. There's people who many would consider to be better than me that didn't get that opportunity because they decided not to stay with it. So I feel like it's really important for people who want to do this to understand that.
So just so I'm clear and so that everybody else is clear. So theoretically, so you go and you find the contacts for these thousands of agents.
I knew writers. I knew writers that, so by this point, I've also written for other writers, like on an edit tip, and then they send me something, and then I just end up redoing it. And so I know I got it. Yes. I know I can do it.
Yes,
because I see how I'm being treated. And this is no shot at them or no disrespect to them, but nobody's gonna save you. Like you could be a great writer, with a real skill set, and I could call my agent and be like, yo, I know this guy right here. He's great, and he'll be like, okay, I have you. I don't really want a person close to you unless they doing something remotely different that moves me, and it might not move him. So don't mean I'm not looking out, because my agent, my old agent that I fired, I tried to get her to sign Connie. Yeah. And she went and signed Connie because she's like, yo, I like what he has going on, but I got you and I got this guy in Detroit. I'm looking for somebody to write some erotic thrillers. Can this nigga write about wild orgies? You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, I don't think so. I think he'd be like spooning and falling in love and all that. So nobody, no writer friend group, they can, and Sharice got me into some parties and some cool situations. MK gave me some life-changing advice and exposed me to a mentality of how to be competitive against yourself and becoming the best version of who you are. But they couldn't call their agents and be like, yo, represent him. Like it just don't work like that.
Right. And so, all right, I love that. So we say research, that's one of the first steps. is research, figuring out who you can talk to. Then you gotta have this query, right? Which is 3 to 5 paragraphs saying who you are, what you write, what you do. Now you can write one of them, and that you can send that out to the 500.
Exactly. You just customize it. So instead of saying "Dear John," when you write to Joe, "Dear Joe,"
Boom.
and you might even get some feedback on your query or your proposal from some of these people. So that's another thing. Feedback. Like somebody might say, "Yo, I read your query. Send me that proposal." Remember, we did the proposal first, so it's done.
Right.
Send a proposal.
How long is a proposal?
So if it's fiction, then the book is going to be done. So however long your book is.
Oh, okay.
If it's nonfiction, it's going to be a couple of different sections. And all of this is they break it down in that book that I talk about.
Make sure y'all get that book if y'all interested in it.
There's going to be like a marketing section. There's going to be like a synopsis of the book. There's going to be like some information on you. There's going to be some information on your reach and your platform. There's going to be some comp titles. So you can let them know what your actual book is going to look like in the market.
Did you have reach already at the point where this time?
No reach. I had no reach. Nobody knew me. I had maybe published when I got my first book deal, I published like 1 or 2 articles, and articles where they weren't, no, I didn't have any reach. I didn't have a lot of Instagram followers. I didn't have a lot of Twitter followers. I never really knew how to learn how to use Facebook. So I didn't have reach. It wasn't necessarily about that for me. And I do think that in this industry, it's good that, you want to build reach and you want to get your work out there, but you don't need reach to be able to actually get into the game.
Yo, this is so deep that for all of the listeners and the watchers out there, understand that you can literally rewind this, go back over it. You can go back to getting the book title. You can find out what the query supposed to have. You can do all of this, and you can get yourself into a situation where you can get your own book deal. Now, that's very valuable information. I mean, this conversation is just not happening every day on platforms, as far as I know. Let's take a break real quick on the getting in the game part. Now, let's talk about the business of when you in there, though. So, are there, this is a multifaceted question, and I want to just let you roam through it.
Okay.
Are there bad book deals?
Absolutely.
What do good book deals look like? Do people who write certain things, can they live off of their book deal? Like, tell me, how does that work?
That's a great.
Is it points on the package? Like what?
No, it's definitely points on the package.
Okay.
Like maybe. So I'm gonna tell this story, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
I love
but
stories.
People just need to know. People need to know. So I'm 1 foot in, 1 foot out, right? I'm 1 foot in, 1 foot out, but I'm more on the outside. And I'm really, really, really fighting for this new life and this new reality, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm with this girl that I've been with, and we had we had a falling out, right? We had our relationship was done. She like me is the guy who I used to be, and I was turning into a different person. Not as connected in praise of capitalism, but more or less in looking for purpose and trying to do things that meant something. And our worlds weren't really working. So I'm out of a crib that I bought. I'm living down Latrobe. But I'm on this journey. Trusting the process. I'm on this journey. And I'm teaching down Friendship Academy, right? I came in as a substitute. I was so good at being a substitute that they was like, yo, I could get this nigga a real job. Like, he's like Michael Jordan, the substitutes down there, right? I had the whole shit on lock. I'm coming to work. I'm clean. I got like teacher groupies. Like, I got the whole shit, the headlock.
Yes,
like,
sir.
got the kids fucking with me. Like, I figured it out.
Yeah.
Right? So I got this agent, and so let me just go back a little bit. I wrote my first essay that actually got some traction. And I still didn't have a lot of essays published. I was still maybe on this is maybe like number 3 for me tops. and I got that joint published. And now my agent has a little bit of, she got. So this is back to like a bad book deal. I'm just want you to know I stay on I stay on track. So my agent's like, yo, now we finally got somebody that want to offer you a deal. Mm-hmm. She was out with the cook up for like 2 years. Mm-hmm. Nobody wanted to touch it. Mm-hmm. Somebody wrote to her, a guy from East Baltimore writing a book about growing up in East Baltimore, he'll die before pub date. LOL. Have drinks later this week. Like this is how these people, this is how these people talk. And I'm saying this is another thing. This is to the people who watch the show. You need really thick skin. Like, you have to be like, my skull is made of steel. Like, because if I reacted or just crashed out over everything that was wild that was said, then I wouldn't be the person to be able to, and I'm about to prove how much steel.
That's super wild.
Yeah, it get worse. So now you got a chick out of New York. She really, 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 really loved the work. She thought I was talented. She loved my proposal. She loved the essay she read. I'm going to be the next thing. Mind you, I've never been hot in the literary world, even to this day. Mm-hmm. And I've got 4 bestsellers under my belt, and I've never been that guy, even still. Mm. But to her, he's about to be our one. He's going to be the one. Mm-hmm. Can you come to New York on Monday? My agent said. Can I come to New York on Monday? Absolutely. Like, I've been waiting to hear them words since I started this. And now me and my agent, we over 2 years in at this point.
Right.
So she couldn't sell me for nothing. And now she can sell me.
Yeah.
Right. So me, that shit is crazy. This is like take back memories. Me, my homie Day. I don't know if you know my my family, Dez, FMG Dez. We ride to New York. We ride to New York. And, I told you I'm still like I'm on both sides, but I'm trying to. This is about to put me where I need to be at.
Right.
This is gonna put me where I need to be at. So we ride to New York. The meeting probably it's like 5 p.m. I'm in the lobby by like 3:30. I'm in there early, dog. Like, I get there early because I'm hungry. And I'm sitting in there and I'm like, I got a meeting, and the security guard like, your meeting's not until like whatever. I'm here. Like I don't want to be nowhere. I'm about to get a book deal.
Exactly.
Lady come in, secretary come in. Everyone knows you here. Whatever. The editor come out. The chick who actually set it up. She's so excited. She was like, "Oh, you here early? I'm so glad. I can't wait. I want to do this, that, and the third. But you're meeting not with me, it's with my boss. Cool." 5 o'clock come. Yeah. The boss is on a call.
Yeah.
5:30.
Of course.
6 o'clock. 6:30. Mind you, I've been there early.
Right.
I'm in the lobby. She leave me waiting for hours, right?
Yeah.
Chick come out. I wouldn't be mad if you left. You too talented to go through this. And I said, shorty, I don't have nowhere else to go.
Yeah.
Right? Boom. She finally called me back, sit me in a chair. Oh, I read your proposal. Yeah, I like you. You got some talent. If we bought this book, we'll do you like we did Snoop for the Wire. And that's Snoop got a memoir. Yeah. But she got it, she co-wrote it. Some white dude. Yeah. And we'll set you up with a ghostwriter, this, that, and the third, and we'll put you out. It'd be great for you. It'd be life-changing. I said, I'm sorry, man. Like, I got big respect for her and big respect for what y'all do. But like, I'm here because of my writing. Like, we're not the same person. We from the same city. We from the same part of town. Yeah. But we two different people. Yeah. She's known for, her amazing redemptive story. Becoming an actor after, what she went through in the system and all that. And I'm like, people actually know me for writing. Like, I don't need a ghostwriter, whatever, right? Right. So she's like, yeah, whatever. We talk. The meeting is over, and she's like, I like you. I think we can. You're gonna hear from us. So I'm like, cool. So we go to New York, whatever, party, whatever. Go back home. I'm back at school a couple days later, and I'm sitting. So in my classroom is like all the bad kids who got kicked out of the cafeteria when they can't eat their lunch. Of course. Yeah, so we in there, you got the ISS room. Yeah. Right. So we in there talking, we in there, how it is, you the cool teacher, we talk and laugh and joke or whatever, it's all good, it's all love. I get a phone call from my agent. I've been waiting to tell you this for 2 years. Got an offer. Like, they gonna buy your book. Right? Yeah. So I'm like, oh, for real? I'm like, yo, this is really happening. And I'm telling the little guys in the class, like, yo, I don't care if y'all shut the fuck up or not, nigga. I'm ready to quit. Fuck you, little nigga. Like, I'm, and they like, come on, Watkins. And I'm like, out of here.
Yeah.
So what's the money situation like? So they offering $450,000, right? So I'm like, mind you, at the time I got like $100 in the bank.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm down bad. I'm down bad, right?
You good for today, but not for tomorrow.
I'm good for today, but I'm down bad, not tomorrow. So I'm like, I'm froze, dog. And then she like, you hear me? I'm like, nah, what? What you say? Well, 70% of that will go to you, and 30% will go to the ghostwriter. I said, man, get the fuck out of here. I said, that's insane. I said, no. I said, shorty, I told her, I'm not just a story, I'm a storyteller. Like, fuck is you talking about? Like, I said, go, you want me to go back? I said, go back. She goes back. But they want you to submit 3 new chapters. All right, cool. Because they say you're too playful with language and this, that, and the third, and, whatever. All right, cool. Submitted 3 new chapters. They dig it. All right, they're going to make you another offer. What you think they came back with?
250 just for you.
I'll give you one more guess.
100,000.
Man, they came back with 15 grand, dog. 15 grand. And what I'm going to do? I took the shit. I took it. I took the shit because I ain't had no choice. I didn't have anybody else fighting for it.
Yeah.
And I believe in myself so much that I'm willing to not better my living situation to pursue this thing.
So would you
wild gamble?
Would you? That's definitely a wild gamble.
It's a wild gamble.
Would you have professionally lost by allowing that person to ghostwrite, or he would have just watered down the product?
I didn't even think that far. I just couldn't imagine somebody writing something that my name was on. As far as like, I couldn't imagine a person doing this because this is what I want to do. This is what I'm dedicating my life to.
Yeah.
No handle, no training wheels, none of that. Like, I don't, and I've read his work. I didn't even think at the time. I didn't think that he could do something. And don't get me wrong, he's great. He's excellent. But I thought I was the best to do my own shit. And then my own ego.
Yeah.
Like, my ego is like, nigga, hell no.
You
like,
need some of that. So I feel,
ain't...
but right now, this is what I'm in my head. I'm like, if we just 400,000,
450.
But I'm just doing 400 I'm doing 400 just for the quick math. That's 40, 80, 120 that they gonna get. So you gonna slide off with 280 or more, and you like, nah. And man, I appreciate that though, because that's for the cook up.
That was for the cook. And the crazy thing is, the cook up was the first book I sold, but the B-side was the first one that came out. So they're telling me that they don't know if I'm strong enough to be able to complete the memoir. That's why I said earlier, make sure the book is done.
Yeah.
And you avoid that conversation. Maybe I would have been in a better position to get a bigger advance if I walked in with a book that was completed.
Correct.
But the B-side came out, instant New York Times bestseller. So when that shit came out, they started pushing the cook up back because they like, now we got to reposition this shit in the market. Because now this guy can actually sell.
Yeah.
He's proved that he can sell. He's on NPR and he's on Meet the Press and he's on these different media. He's getting all of this press and he's going around the world doing this stuff. And we were bringing him in like a lower level trade paperback. Yeah. Now he's elevated to a hardback release. So now the lady who made that decision, now I'm too big to be in her department. So now when I come in, the real shit. So now when I come in, I don't go in the hallway and go around and go to the she's at, I go all the way upstairs because now I'm a person that proved I could do something, and it all happened in a couple of months.
So like, what's the points and what's the back end like?
So that's a good question. And this is just one-on-one for most writers. Most writers, your first book deal is going to be as low as $5,000, and this is for no-name writers with no viral essays, none of that. If an editor really, really loves you, he or she, they might drop like 200 grand. So it's from 5 grand to 200 grand. Very, very big difference. That difference is based on what is happening in the world, what is happening in that editor's life, and how much they believe in what you're actually trying to do.
Yeah.
So that's like the first thing. Second thing is, regardless of how much money you get, you should probably spend half of it on PR because PR firms inside publishing companies are traditionally terrible. This is where people go to start their career. Once they get a client list, they leave. So that's like the second thing.
Now, real quick, just to be clear about that. So just like a music deal, they're gonna give you that as advance. So that 15 bands though, it might be
$7,500 on PR.
Exactly. So it might be foolish to think that 15 are going all in your pocket and you spending it. No, that you still gotta work with that.
You still gotta work. Even if you gave me a book deal, I've never got $450 still to this day. If you gave me a crazy book deal for whatever, like if you gave me $1 million book deal right now, I'm not gonna change. I'm still gonna go to work. I'm still gonna teach my students. I'm still gonna, out of that $1 million, I'm probably gonna I'm probably gonna throw up $250. I'm probably going invest $250 in family. I'm gonna pay my agents and shit, and I'm gonna spend the rest on marketing, promotion, and taking that book to higher levels. What I tell writers is most writers, and now it's not my art brain, it's not my passion brain, it's not my optimism brain. This is my straight practical brain.
Yeah.
Most writers don't earn out. Earn out means you make the money back off the advance. Most writers don't earn out. Writers sell 5, 10, 15, 20 books. If to put it in context for films, obscure filmmakers like Jonathan Toback or like Woody Allen, their films never earn money. Yet they put out the invest in them every year for art, but they don't necessarily earn money. So but that's that kind of art. The reason why, so I'll do it like this. You can buy 50 books from writers who can be the next big fiction writer, next big nonfiction writer, with hopes that one of them popped, but you pay for all of it by buying Viola Davis's book. Because people are going to buy Viola Davis' book every day, every month, every day, every week, every month, every year for the next 100 years. People are going to be buying, talking about, sharing, celebrating, and loving Viola Davis's book.
Right.
So that's how so now you got the money from her book to be able to say, all right, well, maybe this D. Watkins guy can be somebody. Maybe this Devin Allen guy can be somebody. We'll throw some bread at them and we'll see what they do with it. And so what I've done is I've been able to build an audience for my work, so it allows me to keep getting deals. But what I say is whatever money I get from the book deal is extra. That's my payment. Look at it like a hitman.
Right.
If you tell me you're gonna give me $100,000 to go, knock somebody head off, that's my pay. I don't need royalties from the funeral, from the
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Now you may get some dividends. You may get some dividends,
right?
But that's the bonus. Treat it like this is what you're being paid to complete a job. So if I'm giving you $100,000 to write a book, then just say I got paid $75,000. Now I get royalties from some of my books, but I don't. It's not a good business model to base a lifestyle off of that, because your book can be hot for 3 years and then just stop. Your book can be hot for 10 years and then just stop.
Yeah.
So what are you doing with that advance money?
Are they monthly checks?
Royalties is like twice a year.
Twice a year, okay. So, and then
some books is once a year. Depends.
What are their regular percentages? Like if somebody give you 15,000 for a book, how many points you get? Like what's the percentage you'll get on the back end?
They give you 15. You probably, after they factor in the money they spent on the marketing and the promotion and the rollout and all that 15 probably turns into like 85. So you gotta earn out. That book gotta earn like 85. After that book earn like 85, then it can be anywhere from a 70-30 in your favor between you and the publisher, or a 50-50 between you and the publisher. So it becomes like that kind of thing.
That's wild generous though.
Yeah, the splits is not bad, but the thing is that
nobody earns out.
It's not music, so it's like you're not, you fall in love with a D. Watkins essay, you're not gonna log on and read the shit 1,000 times, but you might replay, Thriller. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You might replay that shit a gazillion times. So it's a different medium. So I always tell writers, especially the ones starting out, Shorty, you need multiple streams of revenue. Like, yo, it's nothing. It's cool shit to work a job. I like to teach. I love teaching. When students really, really, really want to do it, it's some of the best times that I actually have. I only have a bad time when students are like entitled or they feel like that they're bigger than the process.
So real quick, yo, give us some streams of income that for a writer, like tell me where you at with like what can these people be doing?
Yeah. So teaching is a big one for a lot of us. At the high school level or the college level or the middle school level, teaching is a big one for a lot of us. Teaching, you know, for me, I go to work from September. I go to work from February to like May. Then I'm off till September. And then I work from September to like
December.
The first week of December.
Yeah.
So, and then I'm off again until February. In the gaps, I'm writing, I'm traveling, I'm running workshops, I'm doing different things, but I have that foundation in place and I know how much I'm gonna make if everything goes wrong.
Right.
Other cool thing about being a professor is, let's just say they're like, hey, D, we want you to speak to a group of NBA foundations. We're gonna pay you whatever $5,000-$10,000 to come to this place and talk to these people about your books. And this is happening during a semester. Students, instead of coming to class, submit your work online. See you niggas next week.
Right.
So now I can go get that because my job gives me the flexibility to be able to pivot from being in person to online.
Yeah.
And then I can go get that. Some other revenue streams, definitely. There's a lot of people who need editors. There's not even just like copy editing, but like content. There's a lot of people who start their own businesses. Maybe you're a barber. Maybe you are a person who owns like a hair salon. Maybe you're in real estate. But it's like a lot of different things you can do to actually make money while you're pursuing that artistic dream. My equation is it's been writing for a long time, so I've been very fortunate to be able to make a living with words. But it's writing for the magazine. It's
Me
teaching.
too.
It's teaching. It's it's a blessing, right? It's a blessing. Writing for the magazine, words, teaching people how to write. So that's words. My books. So that's words. It's film and television, but writing. So that's still words. And then ghost writing for other people is words. So it's like I do all of these different things. And they all contribute to what I do.
So so one of your streams you just said was ghostwriting, right? So talk to us about some of that because maybe some of these people are nice enough to ghostwrite, but they might don't have a good idea. They might don't have talk through some of that.
The ghostwriting is so you have to be. I will say this, and this is something that you really need to think long and hard about. You have to be a very special person to have a career as a ghostwriter. And I'm going to give you the foundation, like the fundamentals. Number one, you have to understand that you don't matter. It has nothing, because a lot of writers have a lot of ego. Your ego doesn't matter. You don't even exist, like hence ghost. You don't exist. Number two, the person who wrote the book is going to get all of the praise for work that you've actually done. You'll get a check, but they're going to get the awards. They're going to get the accolades. They're going to get the hugs. They're going to get the tears. They're going to get called genius. You won't be called anything. Number three, you do all of this with this person and they're not your friend. Don't think they're your friend. Don't think they're the homie. Don't think they're your brother. Don't think that's big homie. Like, nigga, they don't know you. So you're not even supposed to talk about them because you probably signed the NDA. Number four, it will never ever make you famous, but in the outside world, you'll only be famous inside of the industry. So again, if you want fame, if you want people to know your name, if you want people to be like, you're that guy, they're not gonna do that. I'm good at ghostwriting because I never wanted to be famous. I think being famous is kind of corny, but I'm not against people who want fame. It ain't for me. I also don't need my name on everything that I've worked on. Now I've co-written and I ghost wrote, and the books I've co-written, it's because the people who I worked on these projects with, they wanted my name on there. So with the work with me and Carmelo, who is a friend, when we collaborate, that's something that he's big on that because it's something that we do together. I have people who I've written their whole books and we didn't collaborate. You feel me? So we don't have them. We don't even have them kinds of conversations. Mike Africa, we co-wrote his book. Mike Africa Jr., who survived the MOVE bombing in Philly in 1985. And me and Mike, we co-wrote a real history of MOVE through his lens. That was a co-writing job, and we tackled some real big issues. It's sometimes when they look at it like a celebrity book, and I'm like, yo, Mike's an activist, Mike's in the street, Mike's for the kids, Mike's in the community, Mike's trying to empower people. He should have won some awards for that book, but they look at it as if like, it's a celebrity. Celebrity books they tend to not really win awards. So that's a whole different thing. But yeah, it is a way for a writer to make money while he or she is chasing their dream. But at the same time, you have to understand that you are working for someone else's dream and you're working for money. And at the end of the day, that's what you're gonna get from that is you'll only get money. You won't get the praise, you won't get the love. Somebody else is gonna get all the like, oh my God, this is this amazing voice. So and you gotta be good with that.
So you was talking earlier about how like you really love that portion of your business model right now because of the ability that it gives you for family time. Man, you married, right?
Yes.
How long?
6 years. 6 years.
There you go. And you got the baby, wife, family at home, man. We like to really salute and applaud. Well, I do anyway, because
thank you.
I think being a father and a husband, I think that's really like one of the most important things we can do.
Absolutely.
Especially when we got our head on straight. Because we hear so many stories about people who don't have their head on straight. But man, the fact that we had that opportunity and you choose to raise a family, I think that's dope. You know what I mean?
For sure.
So I just want to give you kudos on that. But now let me ask you this though. What do you feel like is your superpower as a writer?
It's a good question. That's a real good question. I think I've been blessed with the ability of taking really, really complex topics and simplifying them. I think I can take, like some language from a dense medical journal and bust it down for like third graders.
Yeah.
One of the reasons why the B-side really resonated and stuck with a lot of people was because it dealt with an issue that was very timely. And by dealing with that issue, okay, so we did events at baby booking at the youth jail. We did events at some of the group homes and some of the programs where kids are being housed. But then we did events at Harvard. You know what I mean? And the same people were reading the same book, and they had different, so for the kids that's locked up, even some of the kids in middle school and high school, their entry point was like, yo, this is like my neighborhood or my actual neighborhood.
Right.
And then for the people in Harvard was like, wow, well, we studied it this way, but we didn't look at it that way. So now we want to talk about it this way. Even though we have a drone-like perspective, we have voices that are that we normally don't have access to. So it can make us think about how we think about policy and long-term effects and how these things work. So I think I have a good ability of writing books, and essays that do well in different markets. And a lot of times that's just me simplifying ideas so everyone can digest them.
Now, I wanted to ask you, how would you describe yourself as a writer? But I feel like your answer to that is almost really the same in that regard. I want to give you some more praise real quick, man. The Cook Up, the fact that was your first book, that makes sense to me. But that was one of the dopest situations. I think we first met because when the Cook Up came out, I was working at Lakeland Elementary School. Shout out to Lakeland. I was working a bunch of schools, and either somebody, I don't remember how it happened, but we got some books either from you or from your people. We had all the kids that we had read the book. They made a song called The Cook Up.
I remember that.
And you came out and talked to them. They played the song for you. You had it. But man, I read the whole joint. And what I loved the most about it was that you didn't like get a book deal and then all of a sudden talk right like you wasn't from Baltimore.
Right.
And so like even in my books now, like I write to do and I spell it T-E-W.
That's fire.
And like it's really, in my opinion, it's not any I mean, it's not much to say for me because I'm a poet. So that's art. I can do that. I can, but the way you did it, like you writing in my opinion, a real book, and you still talking about what it felt like to be on your block, what it felt like for when you got these shoes and how it felt when this opportunity happened. And you saying it like, I felt like that whole night that I read that book, that we was just outside.
You know what's crazy
on the porch
about your first joint though? It's like if somebody was like to ask Nas about Illmatic, you know what I mean? If somebody was to ask Hov about Reasonable Doubt, like if you talk to people about like, you know, your debut is just so many thoughts and feelings and ideas bottled up, and then once you get into the industry, you're more places, you're around more people, a lot of your perspectives and ideas change.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So that rawness, and so for new writers again,
yeah,
your first book is special, man. You'll never get that feeling again. Like I've had a book come out. I had an anthology that I'm a part of that came out this week. I had a book that came out August. Like I'm saying, it's not even like I don't feel anything. Like so I shouldn't say I don't feel nothing. I'm gonna say like it's nothing more magical than your debut. When your debut come out, so even though The Cook Up came out second, that was my real debut. That was my introduction to, you know, because that's the first one I wrote. I was more polished by the time the B-side came out.
How did that, I'm cutting you off, but no, I need to know the answer to this now on my own fandom. How did B-side come out before like you got another book deal right back?
But that's what happened. So it was hard for me to get that Cook Up book deal, and when it came out, I think I signed the deal maybe like in 14. Maybe like in 14, I signed the deal, and it wasn't supposed to come out until like 18. They just threw me on the shelf. So like, because they didn't think, you know, they were gonna get me, you know, do it when they wanted to do it. The B-side had came from now. So now I've published like 6 essays, and there was this guy who used to work with he wrote he wrote a really big book about the Dulles brothers and the CIA, and he wrote another book. He wrote these real big political books. Like he did some books on the Kennedys. He did some books, like he was a serious dude, and he was working with this dude Daniel Eisenberg, who was like famously known for stealing the Pentagon Papers. So these some serious guys, right? Some serious guys. So he called me up one day and he's like, "Yo, I'm putting this little imprint together, man. I want you to be my debut." And I'm like, "Who is this?" And he was like, "You know, how'd you get my number?" He's like, "Don't worry about that. I have everybody's number." And he's like, "Can you come out to San Francisco, you know, and pick some money up and have dinner?" I said, "Absolutely." It's
right.
Like, one thing in a row I want to do is go pick some money up and have dinner. My 2 favorite things.
Come on now, especially somewhere warm.
Yo, you feel me? So even though it's funny, San Francisco was freezing like all the time. So
for real?
Yo, Mark Twain said, Mark Twain said this. He said, "Yo, I love San Fran. Yo, I love Bay Area. Oakland's warm and it's right over the bridge. San Fran got like a muggy, cool feel all year round. It's like long sleeve shirt and shorts because it's hot enough for the shorts, but it's cool enough at night. You go outside at night without that jacket, you in trouble. I love it though. That's because I've been going to San Francisco every year, like 2 or 3 times a year, working with the kids in the Fillmore district, which is that 3% black population in the city. And we do soft skills, we do resume skills, we do writing workshops, we do they go HBCU college tours, but sometimes I prep them for that. So we do good work out there. But I'm like, yo, I want to sign this deal, and it was significantly more than the first deal I got. I want to sign this deal, but they got the rights to my next book. And he was like, well, that's why you're gonna come out before them. Then can you have an essay collection together for me in like 2 or 3 months? And I'm like, yes. And I threw together like I don't know, like 30 essays or 40 essays, and that was a book. And we came out, and that ended up being my debut, and that ended up making the other publishing company saying, "Damn, let's push up his pub date."
Did that earn out?
Yes, that earned out. Yes, both of those books earned out. But it was like they were like, "Yo, now we got to put a little team around him, and we got to kind of handle him with a little bit more care."
It's so loving how God will just work with you and take your situation. And I assume, because just understanding the machinations of what all had to happen in order for him to get to you, and then for you to trust him to do all those things you was talking about. Like, yo, they got the rights to my next book, but he said that's why we're gonna come out first, and then you was able to do that. Like, so many things had to happen, man. We're gonna wrap this up in a few minutes, man.
It's all good.
Let me ask you this, man. Me and my wife, man, we was so excited because first off, we love The Corner. I had just recently educated her on The Corner. And then we watch The Wire once a year, all the way through. Her favorite season is episode 4. She liked 1. My favorite season is 1, 2, and 3.
People be sleeping on 2.
Though 2 is really where
is
really where they really put all the building blocks together to make you understand everything. You know what I mean? Because if you don't understand the ports, you can't understand any of the rest of the story. And the politics in 2 was so deep. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely. So when we heard that you was working on We Run This City, man, we was getting popcorn, we getting something to eat for when it come out. Man, how was it writing on that joint? Like,
so I'll say this. It's bittersweet. Sweet because I've just started building a relationship with HBO. They put me in this documentary. They asked me to speak at a certain amount of programs. They were asking me what I wanted to develop and work on. When they found out David was doing the show, David came to them with my name, and they was like, "Yo, we already got an eye on him. Like, we like him." And you know, for David Simon, people they remember how he used to be wilding on Twitter, but what they don't know is him as like the real person. And when I say the real person, I mean like he just put so many people on.
Facts.
Like, yo, took care of so many people with shit that he would cringe if he hear you talking about it. But I mean, like, The Wire was the biggest black cast on television when it was out. People don't really talk about that. He wasn't going into the world. He's not an activist. He's a journalist. So he's literally like, yo, I got to tell this story the way it was actually, because you mentioned The Corner. Man, I tell anybody, yo, read the book. Read the fucking book. Read that book, The Corner. Read that. Read that shit. That shit is like one of the most brilliant, I don't even know what to call it, a study on why the war on drugs is the way it is and why it failed and what it looks like from every angle. He goes all the way back to the Great Migration from black people moving from the South, headed to New York for opportunity and why they stopped and bought. He do all of that. Like the Bethlehem Steel failed to industrialize. Like it's not like, oh, these people are good, these people are bad. It's like, yo, this is a brilliant piece of work, right? So to be able to work with them, to work with David, and I've been a fan of David and I've been a fan of George. George Pelecanos wrote like 30 crime novels and they all bangers. And then getting to meet Nina Noble and understanding, her genius and what she brings to the table, it was good. So that's the sweet part. The bitter part was I covered that story like a maniac. Like I've been covering it. I've been writing about Herschel before Herschel had a name in the press because I'm from down the hill. So I bumped heads with him. So I covered it like it's almost like I knew too much.
Yeah.
So to be in a room, it's one thing to be a reporter and work a crime beat. It's another thing to be a criminal and to become a reporter. And And the beautiful thing about it is they let me rock out. They let me, they gave me, because I thought I was coming in to learn and study.
Mhm.
David was like, no, you doing an episode. So I didn't know. And this is like, and I hate to keep saying, the writers, because ego. You in a room with people, everybody at the table wrote and worked on a wire. People call it the greatest show ever. You feel me? I didn't work on any show. So for me to come in a room trying to demand shit because I got a couple of little bestsellers and trophies, that is insane. That is insane.
Yeah.
I came in, pen and pad, laptop, cup of coffee. I'm ready to, who I'm studying under. I'm Daniel's son.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And,
yeah.
And it's okay.
Yeah.
You'll never be a master if you don't know how to be no fucking student.
That's
so
it. You gotta sit at the feet.
Man, I came in and he was like, nah, man, you gonna get this. So that's all the sweet part. The bitter part is I think the show deserved 10 to 12 episodes so we can fully tell the story.
I felt like it could have continued.
We had to bunch a whole lot of shit into 6 hours. It was very difficult. I think the budget was like 90 million, right? I think the budget should have been like 180 million. And I just feel like we should have had double the episodes because it would have gave us a chance to build something that was worthy of the talent and and that was in the room. And as far as the writer's room though, it was good for me because again, like every idea. So episode 3 was mine, but I got a chance to put my little touch on each episode.
Mm-hmm.
Episode 3 was mine, but I felt like we just needed more space, man.
Yo, I'm really tripping. Like that episode, like that's wild to me to hit. Like, so what? Like, tell me about. Like, did you write specific lines for people? Did you just write what's supposed to happen? Like,
so we had so for one, we had
I'm just fanning out at this point.
No, it's love, bro. Like I appreciate it, man. Like I just because you're a writer, so like we work hard at this stuff. So for one, we had thousands and thousands and thousands of pages of research to go through. So this is the part that people, when they're watching it, they don't really understand. Like, and this is no disrespect to no other show on television, but with a lot of shows, you just watching shit that, people get a situation and they just like go fiction and make shit up.
Mm-hmm.
Nigga, we're pulling from depositions. We're pulling from victim impact statements. We're pulling from police reports. We're pulling from documentation that we're not supposed to have. Like we got sealed files. We got shit in court be redacted. We can unredacted shit. So we're getting, this is the most nonfiction piece of television that maybe has ever existed when it comes to like, if I'm pulling from court documents and I'm pulling from depositions, then it's literally coming from the people's mouths who are actually saying it, that we're portraying in an actual show. We ain't switch names or nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So those people who we didn't create those people. And it would be real easier and it would be more sexy if I could have wrote like a love scene where a cop falls in love with a junkie and they go have nasty sex and but like no, that didn't happen. So we couldn't go there and do that. You feel me? But it's the most nonfiction show you're gonna see. I just felt like we needed more time, and I think it would have fit in. It would have been that closing piece. Because with The Wire, you got with The Wire, with the corner, you got that side of addiction and what it looked like.
Yeah.
With The Wire, you get procedural crime and how these people are investigated, whether if it's fair or not.
Yeah.
And then with we own this city, you get the fallout when you let police run wild and do what they want and kind of what actually happened. So it was like the final chapter for him. And I was super thankful to work on that. But I just want to say one more thing in regards to all of this stuff. Like, if I'm writing a book for an NBA player, if I'm writing a book for or with any other type of public figure, if I'm writing for myself, if I'm working on a TV show, if I'm writing an ad campaign for Under Armour or Nike, like I've done all these things. And I'll just say that these are just things that I've worked on and things that I've done. They have nothing to do with me. It's just my work. It's not me. I can't, because if you invest yourself in accomplishments and accolades and these things are stripped from you, then who are you? Who are you? Like or if it doesn't work out, if I fail at being a businessman, if I fail at being an artist, should I fail at life? Should I fail at being a person?
Mm-hmm.
No. So if I win at it, it doesn't mean I'm just a winner. It just means that some things I did resonated. I published over 800 articles. A good percentage of them are fucking terrible. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
You know, but some of them are really good. And some of them I really rock with. And some of the ones that are really good will never, ever, ever win an award or be talked about or be praised or whatever. It'll just die on the internet. And it doesn't mean I'm dead. It's literally some shit that I do for a living. That's what I did. And I'm very thankful that the work resonates, but the work is its own thing and it exists in its own world. And it's going to be talked about by people who don't even look at the by who. They're just going to talk about what they interacted with. And that's just, you know, I mean, who watched the credits? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean?
Man, you're a great interviewee because, man, I at least skipped 6 questions because you went right into it.
That's my fault. I talk too much.
But no, that's the perfect thing. As my job, man, you doing the perfect thing for me. So which one do you like the most? Like between the ad, which genre do you like to write in the most?
That's a great question. I think when like so. I like working. I like the television jobs I've had because I've been blessed to collaborate with. You know, me and George had another HBO movie that it's not getting greenlit, but just collaborating with George and George Pelicanos wrote all the murder scenes for The Wire. So how my head looked, Mike. And, you know, the Trey Chaney joint where they killed Michael B. Jordan. Yeah. Where he like, give me the gun, man. Like George wrote all of the stringer belt. George wrote all the murder scenes. Like George was the Grim Reaper. He wrote the murder scenes for the joint. So
he in your table read that week. You like, shit. Come on,
you like, come on.
I'm out of here,
bro. So when you can collaborate with people that you look up to, then it's really great. Or when you can collaborate with people when you get a chance to mentor, and you know, you obviously you learn from teaching, and then you teach. You know, when you get an opportunity to teach, that's been great. The books have been great. I like them all in different ways because, like, I ain't gonna lie, with one of my books, like, I think the best book I've written to date is probably Black Boy Smile. And when I say, like,
critically acclaimed,
I go to like events, you know, places that pick the book as like one book, one school, and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, like I'm very, very thankful. I get very excited, and I just love not even what I wrote, but I love how what I wrote make other people think about, like, oh shit, he was talking about this, now let me go do my own thing. Yeah, I really, really like that a lot. So I like them all. I like them all in different ways. You know, because I've written books that I've hated the editors I had to collaborate with. I shouldn't say hate, but I just thought it was a bad experience. I've worked on film projects that I thought, like, you know, was a shit show, and then the film comes out and it's a shit show, but I'm thankful for it all. Yeah,
man, we gonna save my questions about D Wade and doing that, man, for June 26th, 7:30 to 10 p.m.
Shout out to his team, man. He got a great team, man. Yeah, his team, he the truth, but his team they some strong women, man. Some good sisters, man. You know, with Lisa and Simone, and then my homie, my dog, his cousin Kenny, man. Kenny, that guy. They some good people, man.
And remember, y'all, team is important. And if y'all want to know how to build y'all team, y'all go to that episode with Orville the Poet and y'all check out what he said about team. Because like he said, man, imagine you have a team and you operate one way, and then when you're not around and your team is handling other people, they doing something outside of what you would want done. So it's real important to pick a team, and I'm glad you had a good experience with that there, man. We got this game, man, called Pen or Pad.
I bet.
That we're going to play before we get up out of here.
I'm with it. I'm always with it.
So here it go, and I'll explain to you. The last question is the same question always, but here we go. So 4s or 3s, you're going to pick from the options. You can explain. You cannot explain, however you feel. So 4s.
Damn, you come out like that?
Yeah. 4s or 3s.
It's insane.
I'm doing my research a little bit. I'll be paying attention.
So I'm going to say this. The 2 best pair of Air Jordans ever created, in my opinion, 3s and 4s. 3s and 4s are the best. I don't know if it's because where I was at in my life. I think with the threes kind of introduced me like to this whole culture in general. And ain't no retro. I'm old, so I'm talking about when they first came out in '88, and little dude. Aunt was walking out the 125 building with him more than I chased her across the street because what the fuck is those? Like insane. So I'm gonna go with the black cement threes, man. Black cement threes has been my favorite shoe through every era of my life. Through little kid, through being retro in high school and I'm trying to, get girls to buying the old joints that crumble off of in-style shoes before eBay was a crazy place to get sneakers, before all that sneaker shit really blew up. Like you had to go find that shit to when they retros being smart enough to buy like 3 or 4 pairs to, trying to bring them out over the years and watching them crumble. Sitting in the closet too long. But black cement threes, man. I told my wife bury me in them.
Oh man, all right.
Or cremate me in them, whatever, either way.
Words. I love that. All right, so cool. So New Balance or Nike?
Oh, I'm gonna go with Nike. I'm gonna go with Nike. And that's crazy because I came in the game like I said, like all my, and my DC friends hate when I say this, but I got photos. But like when I came into sneaker anything in general, that's what it was. It was all my uncles and my pops and all them. They wore a lot of New Balance. But New Balance didn't turn me out like Nike's did.
What's your favorite New Balance number?
Probably 1300s. 1300s. That's still great color. Them joints, they special.
Okay. So, interviews or journalism?
That's a great question. I think they go hand in hand though. I think for me, I'm more of like a feature writer. So pretty much anything I do is rooted in research, and then that research is kind of always going to be about me sitting down with a person and interviewing them. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I'm talking to people. Like I just always believe that as a journalist, and this is another thing to new writers, as a journalist, don't just read what somebody else published and do your own take on it. Actually go out in the world and talk to people, and you get something fresh and original. Sure.
So, the Cook Up or Black Boy Smile?
That's tough. But not really for real. Black Boy Smile is what happens when you self-assess. When you look at yourself and your flaws and your problems, when you look at your growth and who you want to be, you need to cook up for Black Boy Smile to exist. But Black Boy Smile, I'm more polished. I'm a better writer. I talk about my wife. I talk about my daughter. And I take a few stories from the cook up and then I rewrite them in Black Boy Smile through a enlightened, elevated perspective. So in the cook up, when I wrote the story about busting the dude burger in the head, that was like at that time in my life, that was still a story they was telling in my neighborhood. I still felt resiliency from that. When I got older, I felt like I was just adapting to a culture of violence and retaliation. And I was not as proud at the way I handled that situation from a reflective, enlightened perspective as I felt when I was still a savage, carnage, so I've seen that growth within myself. Yeah.
So writing for books or writing for TV?
Man, that's tough as hell, man. It's tough, man. I will say that with television, you just get more eyes on your work. But with books, you get to connect with people in a different way. And I think I get pulled by both of them because I do want people to see the work. But at the same time, when you find two people that lock on a book that they like, them emotions and that conversation is going to be way more crazy than two people who locked in on the show. Plus, a motherfucker may be watching a show while they doing the dishes on TikTok. You know what I'm saying?
You ain't doing nothing when you reading the book.
You reading the book, you can't do nothing. Because if you try to do something, even if it's audio book, like you lose focus on what they talking about, you find yourself, you got to rewind. So you got to be in that moment. And I think, for selfish reasons, that's why I lock into books like that.
Word. So check it, right? This game is called pen or pad. The last question is pen or pad. But the pen represents the creation, the process, the putting of the words down, the getting it done. The pad represents the thing that holds the words. It's what the people see. It's the paper that, everybody's getting, or the book, or the end product, or whatever it might mean to you. But if you had to choose one, what would you choose to be, the pen or the pad?
Probably the pen.
Yeah.
Probably choosing the pen. I'm choosing the pen. Because everything is in the pen. Everything don't make it onto the pad. Shit get erased and deleted and manipulated and changed and flipped around for the pad. But the pen, you get everything in the pen. The pen holds it all. I like to hold all the cards.
That's a great answer, man. Well, dog, this was up to the expectation,
we
man.
We could have did a drink champs, man. It went on for 3 hours. Man.
But you ain't never lied, man. Look, I was sitting here thinking, like, to myself, I'm like, man, I'm gonna save some of my questions for, the 26th when we do this. But then I was like, man, this man talked about, you had talked about, dang, I forgot what you said. Oh, research. I didn't ask you no research questions because in my mind, as I was preparing for this, so just a little bit of background, I'm a Baltimore Urban Debate League kid. Right. So we
I knew that.
So we doing argumentation and debate. One of the things I think that makes me good in what I do, especially in my poetry and all that, is that I have a research background. People don't understand how much better that make whatever it is that you're doing. So I'm like, man,
understand? I don't want to get no argument with you.
we could have spent an hour on research. So I think we're gonna figure out some more times.
And it ain't just you. It ain't just me. Like I had the same conversation. I had this conversation with Ron Coogler, man. Condamani will tell you, man. Ron Coogler took his car seat out his truck so Connie can have somewhere to sit at. I'm like, I would never do that for nobody. I'm not taking my car. I'd have said, man, sit your ass in the car seat. You know what I'm saying? Because him and Devin was in Oakland.
Yeah.
And Ryan wanted to highlight us about something that he wanted to talk to us because we got like a mutual friend that I had a little problem with. And this is the most random story ever, but Ryan was trying to squash it. And I'm like, this is the weirdest shit. Like, how is this nigga the one that's trying
exactly?
It was the weirdest shit ever. But what I take from that is I'm nobody. Like I'm just a person. I'm whatever. This is, and this be for sinners, but this is the top director. This is the guy with Black Panther. This is the guy that did Creed. This is that guy. You understand? And he's humble enough to try to make sure Black people who he both know are on an even kill and to take his car seat out so somebody can ride. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like I said, Connie, my dog, I would have made that nigga sit in the car. You know how hard it is to get? You got a kid. How old is your youngest kid?
Man, I got a grandson, dog. Okay. That's one.
Okay, but were you the one they called on to put it in? Because I'm not the one they called on.
No, you want to know why? Because I'm calling my son. My son fits in. Hey, Kyle, put the car seat in the car. It's a mess. The new car seats is wild.
You got to be like an astrophysicist.
Straps in the back, strap hook. I didn't even know it was hooks in my car to already hook the car seat into.
So I'm saying, cool. This guy who had all that. So who am I to ever be an asshole or not be humble or not be a person that served and to understand that as a writer, you work in service. As an artist, you work in service. I don't care how big and successful you are. When you entertain people, you work in service. If this guy at this level can show that kind of love to me and Devin and all that for no reason, then who is anybody to walk around with a chip on their shoulder and be an asshole when somebody who did it at the highest level understands that I work in service. I'm creating films for you. I want to entertain you. I want you to enjoy it. I want you to have a good time. You feel me? That and even little shit like that, I carry that story with me forever because I mean, I mean, I wasn't inspired enough to take my car seat out for another nigga, but definitely I was inspired enough to know that, okay, you moving right, because he's at a level that you really, really, really look up to and appreciate. So, and he can move like that. So, you know, so if you see somebody not moving like that, you should be good with being uncomfortable, and you should know how you should move.
Word, man. Look, man, is there anything that you want the people who may catch this pod to check out, to go look for? What you got coming up? What's going on?
I'm just around. I'm just working, man. Just, you know, I want you to work on what you're working on, and you get a chance to show some love, and just, you know, do it.
Cool. What's your website? Where can people find you? All that.
Everything at D Watkins World. Everything at D Watkins World. Yeah.
There y'all go. Ladies and gentlemen, family and friends, writers, readers, and in-betweeners. This has been Polish Your Piece, How to Get a Book Deal with D Watkins. And I'm going back to watch this joint. Appreciate y'all.
Love.